Ghana's total debt is currently about 80% of its gross domestic product. The government says the increase in debt is due largely to loans acquired to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. The government's bonds on international markets have crashed, so it cannot borrow at a low interest rate this year to support the economy. It now wants to borrow more than $600 million from the domestic market to fund its expenditure for the second quarter of this year. Analysts say it could slow down the economy.
The little that the banks have, they are lending to the government. If you go to the typical balance sheet of a bank, you will realize that a chunk of the monies are in treasury bills, are in fixed deposits, short-term securities. That tells you that they are comfortable lending to the government rather than what? Giving to the businesses and the individuals who needs money to expand. We're going to have a situation where the crowding out of the private sector and the individual businesses keeps on what? Going. And by so doing, the economy is not going to grow.
Ghana's economy has been struggling since the beginning of the year, with rising inflation coupled with a weakening local currency. The central bank has hiked the lending rate to 17% to curb inflation. The government is pumping $2 billion into the economy to slow down the depreciation of the local currency cedi against the US dollar. The government has also slashed wages of ministers and heads of state-owned enterprises by up to 30% to reduce its expenditure.
And our media review will review the successes of what we have done. This would ensure that the structural reforms are crystallized, reduce fiscal dominance during this period, and ensure fiscal and monetary policy coherence. Together, we will confront the macroeconomic challenges head-on, stabilize the economy, and set it on the path of economic transformation.
The government says it will limit its budget deficit to 7.4% by the end of the year.
If government decide to create a huge deficit, that we must finance the deficit, be it locally, or I'll come to the local aspect of it, be it locally or externally, it's going to be tough. Because external, when you go there, you'll be hit with higher interest rates.
Analysts say Ghana may have to turn to the IMF for a bailout to deal with its rising debt, but the government says it will not sign up for an IMF program. Instead, it will implement its homegrown policies to come out of debt distress.